I'm gonna be so awkward.
I just started it, so that's part of it. Hi guys, welcome to the long-awaited return of music with tea. And we in fact have tea.
Potted tea.
Potted. Not pot. To be clear, it's tea.
Are we clear?
Yes. Are you clear? Okay, so what do we have here, Lydia?
So the tea, we have a loose leaf lavender Earl Grey, right?
Yes.
Okay, and we're gonna try it with one with milk, and then one just
Can
by
I pour
itself.
the tea?
Yes, go ahead.
I'll pour out the hot tea.
ASMR.
So there's with the milk.
Very
It's
frothy.
very frothy.
Very frothy. You can't see it, but professional.
I do love tea.
This is gonna be so much fun to listen back to.
You can feel free to go to sleep to that sound.
That's
Talk
all
you
we're
off.
going to do tonight. It's
It's
just
not all
pour
we're
tea.
going to do tonight.
Okay.
Alright, so start with without milk.
Okay.
So try that.
Okay.
We're going to be rating this from 0 to 10.
That's so good. I love this tea. Ow.
Don't lose your...
I just hit my tooth.
I noticed. I think the microphone picked all of that up.
Okay.
So one drawback of the method I did is it is a little weaker
Mm-hmm.
because it was a lot of tea for just the one
Yeah.
thing. So it's a little weak.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's got a real good flavor.
Mhm.
Little hints of lavender in there.
Yeah.
Of course, it has their solid Earl Grey taste to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good tea.
It's got a lot of depth. I think adding the lavender really helps.
Add depth. All right, now with milk, which is my personal favorite. Here you go. Is it better with milk?
I don't know.
She doesn't want to say. Because she thinks a
Wait.
good tea. What do you think about a tea?
I think a well-grown... I don't know how to phrase this. A well-produced tea...
A well-teed tea.
A well-teed tea does not need milk to make it taste good. So I'm a big advocate of
But
drinking...
this tastes so much better than this.
Well, I'm a big advocate of drinking tea, just straight tea. No honey, no sugar, no milk. There are a few
And that's a really good
exceptions.
flavor, but this tastes better.
Okay, let me explain your reasoning. I
The
gave
milk-
my argument.
Brings out the flavor. It changes it a little bit. It makes it a little mellower. So it mellows the harsher tones. And it makes the flavor a little just more pleasant to drink. But it leaves a lot of the...
Yeah.
It still has a lot of the good flavor.
Which is funny. I love harsh tones. I love bitter tea.
Oh,
I'm not like
interesting.
verbal harsh tones, but so you're right. One thing I noticed is the milk. It definitely kind of cancels out the Earl Grey. So the lavender comes through a lot more than just the
Interesting.
straight tea. Which is nice because if you've ever had lavender lattes, those are delicious. And I think the creaminess of the milk helps complement the lavender.
I love milk and tea.
Okay.
And I love milk tea. So... I'm going to give this... This is a good tea. But I want to leave myself room for amazing tea.
Okay.
I'm going to give this... I was going to go a 7. I'm going to go 6.9.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I want to leave myself room for growth.
Okay. So, is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. So I've tried a lot of teas in my life. I'm very picky about my tea. I don't do fruit teas. I prefer herb teas. And there's one in particular, Bigelow's Vanilla Chai Latte. Favorite tea. But this is a loose leaf, which I do love loose leaf. I'm going to rate this a 9.
A 9.
I love this tea a lot. I mean, you already know, but like,
That's high.
but I love it. There's so much depth. So the lavender it's such a compliment to the Earl Grey, and straight tea or with milk. It's just a great combination.
Okay.
I could drink this for the rest of my life, so I'm gonna give it 9.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. Enough of that. We're going to continue to drink this tea as we get into what we're actually going to talk about in this video / podcast / conversation, I guess.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
I don't know if I ever... did I actually introduce who we are?
You introduced yourself.
Oh, so we introduced the important.
I'm just here.
This is Lydia.
Hello. What?
I don't know. We're here.
There you go.
So we are going to be... Here's what we're doing. Here's what we're doing.
Yes.
We are going to be ranking Relient K albums.
Yay.
Relient Clay, as everyone should know.
Relient Clay.
Relient Clay K.
Greatest band ever.
Greatest band of all time, easily. Greatest musicians. Greatest Christian. No, I'm just kidding. They are Christians. My favorite band.
Yes.
And one of your favorite
My
bands.
top 5.
In the
my
top 5.
But just listen to Calling House.
We need to rank that.
We should rank.
There's not
Calling
many to rank, though. Isn't it like 3?
No, but we could. The new album. We can. Anyway.
Rank songs, maybe.
Yeah.
Lydia likes Colony House,
I love Calling House.
which has a similar vibe to...
Both from Tennessee.
True. Okay, so we are going to rank... We're not going to rank everything on this, so I just found this list online. Some of these are some of the smaller, like, EPs.
Mm-hmm.
So everything past... I didn't actually arrange the right one, but everything past, like, 2 Lefts Don't Make a Right, 3 Do, I'm probably not going to rank.
We're not doing that one.
This is what Apathetic EP. Yeah, I'm not going to do that one. So pretty much everything on the bottom row...
The albums.
We're not going to rank. We're
The
just
real
going to rank the
albums.
real albums. You want to rank the Christmas album? Because that is a full studio album.
I don't think I've listened to the Christmas album.
Okay. I mean, it's not very good, so we don't need to rank it.
Oh my gosh. Hot take.
I'm not a huge fan of a lot of these bottom,
You're
like...
just digging yourself in a
Creeper,
hole. This is your
Creeper...
favorite band.
Yeah, but not everything that they make is perfect.
Okay.
I actually like the Creeper EP, so maybe I'll
I don't
rank
think
that.
I've ever
I've
seen
listened
that.
to it. It's like 3 songs.
I don't think it was on Spotify. But
The Valentine EP is not on here either. They have a
I
Valentine
did
EP.
listen to that one. That one was interesting. Not my favorite. But
Yeah. Once again, I think their studio albums are the best. But let's just jump right in.
Just dive right in.
So I'm gonna start with
Okay.
Forget and Not Slow Down. Well, actually, let's do a. How do you want to do this? Do you want to do it chronologically or just popcorn it?
Oh.
Why don't we do it chronologically?
Okay, let's start from
Let's
the
start
bottom.
with Relient K.
Okay.
Released April 25th, 2000 by Goatee Late Records. Relient K, the
Yeah.
album. Where it all begins.
Yeah. And for reference, I have my phone up. I'm looking at my Spotify so I can see.
Here's some of the tracks.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay.
So my ranking's gonna be on the right over here. For me, not my favorite album.
Oh, we're ranking all the way to D.
We don't have to rank with D. I'm gonna delete D because I mean, honestly, Relient K doesn't deserve a D tier. But I'm actually gonna put this album in C tier.
I'm gonna do the same.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
it's their first album. It's a very pop punky sound.
It's good. I mean,
There's not a lot of songs in here that I'm down
There's
with.
about three that I listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which ones are those?
I listen to Softer to Me, classic.
Okay.
Anchorage. I think that might be.
That's 22 seconds long.
Yeah, it's like an instrumental.
Okay.
And then, oh gosh, Staples.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, really none of these that I listen to a lot of. So even though it is my favorite band, this is maybe one of my least favorite albums from them. So not particularly interesting to me.
I don't have much to say on it because I don't listen to it often, but.
Okay. So let's go ahead and pop over to Anatomy of Tongue in Cheek.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is that again? This one, right?
Yes.
Anatomy tongue and cheek. Why don't you go first on this?
I ranked that honestly in C tier too.
C tier as well?
Yeah.
I'm not as well prepared as you are for this.
Yeah, I've had this written for months.
I actually do enjoy this. There's some songs on this I do enjoy.
Yeah.
Thundercats. This is kind of a fun album. It's got some fun.
It's got a lot of, like, if you know Owl City, he does a lot of, like, puns and just play on words.
I'm gonna have to put this in B tier. It's not quite an A tier song, but it's album for me. It's not in C tier. I really like Satan Hawkins' Dance is fun. Pressing On, I listen to actually a lot. Pressing On's on my playlist. I listen to that a lot.
There's a lot of classics here. I love May the Horse Be With You. That's a really good one.
May the Horse Be With You.
Yeah, this just isn't my style. Like, I wouldn't say it's a bad album. In terms of if we're ranking with taste and style, this isn't my favorite. So that's why I put it in C tier.
I agree. It's definitely... It's a fun album, but it's I agree with you. It's not really my favorite sound from them. Mm-hmm. It's still a little... It's a little more raw than some of their later stuff, and it's very pop punky, which I like the pop punk sound, but I don't think this is the best of Relient K's pop punky sound. So you put that in C tier. I put that in B. I put it in B mainly because there's some songs like Pressing On, like Sadie Hawkins Dance, that I do listen to and really enjoy. So it's not quite like C for me, where it's like I don't really care for that album at all. So next up we have Two Lefts Don't Make a Right, but Three Do.
This is hard.
Released in 2003. Again, still with Goatee Records. So Anatomy was in 2001. I can go next on this one. For me, this is between B and C. I actually lean a little bit towards C for this album. As I look at it, honestly, I don't actually. I'm gonna put this in C. For me, I don't listen to it as much as I do the songs in Anatomy. I do like College Kids. That's a fun song. Mood Rings, but I'm actually not. Yeah, I'm not really into. For me, this album is pretty similar to the Anatomy of Tongue in Cheek. It's got a very similar sound. It's still got a lot of these really kind of goofier songs on it. Still kind of that same sound. But for me, some of the songs in Anatomy are a little bit better. I really like Pressing On. I really like some of the other songs. So that's where that kind of falls. Again, it's kind of like between. I would say it's like a high C. I like it a little bit more than Relient K, but it still kind of falls to that C. So where for you, where are you putting this?
Okay. I've been rethinking my ranking a lot while you've been talking.
Okay.
I think I'm going to... this is so hard. I'll put it in B tier.
Okay. Is that where you had it originally?
Yes. But I'm arranging some other things. So this was actually one of... I listened to Relient K as a kid on the radio, but I didn't know who they were. So the... In Love with the 80s, it was the first song that I heard from them, knowing who they were. So that I love
Pink
that
Tux
song.
to the Prom.
Yeah.
My favorite band will be Tears for Fears.
I love Tears for Fears. And so Getting Into You, also, I really like that one. And Jefferson Aeroplane, that's going to show up
I like
again.
Overthinking.
Yeah, so I think it's a solid album. It's not my go-to, but it's got some weight to it.
I like One Chapstick thing. It's a solid album. Again, I definitely, if I could, I'd put it between B and C tier. So like for me, it's if I had to like number list these, I would place it between Anatomy and Relient K. Okay. But I still kind of don't listen to it that much, so I put it in C. So now, kind of got some of these lower tier albums. We get to released November 2nd, 2004 by Goatee. I can let you go first on this one.
Okay, you're gonna hate me for this.
I won't hate you.
No, so I'm gonna put it in B tier again. I'm trying not to be like stereotypical with how I'm ranking this, but I would say with the amount of weight that it holds, to me, it's about the same as Two Left Don't Make It Right. However, there are a lot more songs on this album that I recognize and that I do appreciate, but it's not my go-to. Like, I tend to skip some of these because it's too rocky for me. But all that to say, solid album. I do love listening to it and, like, really throwback.
Okay. So this is where
Yeah.
our lists really diverge.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this album. For me, this is the combination of that pop punk sound being perfected and combining it with some really, really killer lyrics. Like, really killer lyrics.
This is like angst, David.
It's not even angst. Like, just these songs are so good. If you actually dig into, like, I So Hate Consequences.
No, they're
Running From You is my best defense.
They're very solid. They're very solid.
The One I'm Waiting For. Literally everything is so amazing about this album. I listened to all of these songs. I listened to this album all the way through multiple times.
Like Who I Hate or Who I Am Hates Who I've Been. So good. I do love that one.
Even Be My Escape. You know, it's kind of a like cliche almost, but it's still a really good song in my opinion.
Classic Christian rock.
So I'm putting this in all the way to S tier. For me, this is for the longest time. This was my favorite Relient K album.
Yeah.
Spoilers: it's actually not my favorite Relient K album. It's my second favorite.
Would not have guessed.
So we'll get to that in a second. But for me, this album is incredible.
Okay.
I absolutely love this album.
Quick interlude. I do have to say the milk adds sweetness to the tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I've just been.
So as you're drinking this, you're kind of feeling like you'd rather be drinking this one.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying there's also differences. It's sweeter. Like you're saying, it mellows out the bitterness, but...
Interesting. Yeah, so, definitely S tier. I adore this album. And for me, this is close to perfection as far as that early Relient K sound.
Yeah, that's very classic Relient K.
So one thing I'm going to talk about here, and one of the reasons I love Relient K, is their sound does evolve. So when you look at their first 4 albums, I think they build on each other. The first 3, or I would say all 4 of them have a very similar sound. I would say is the culmination of that sound.
Very smooth evolution, yeah.
I think it's the most complete musically, and I think it's the most complete lyrically by far. The other albums, their lyrics are fun, a lot more fun, less deep.
Yeah.
And I think is the first album where the lyrics are really, really killer. So fantastic.
Strong
album.
lyrics.
Can't say enough good things about We're gonna have to talk later about that beat. Anyway.
No.
So, okay, now we get on to another solid album.
Yeah.
57 years ago, 2007, Go T. Let's talk about this one.
Okay.
5th studio album by Relient K. Did you go first on the last one?
I did.
Okay, so I'll go next on this one. So again, Lydia's list is on the left, mine's on the right if you're keeping score.
They're not.
I am going to put this album in A tier. I really enjoy this album. I think it's super fun. I think it, again, has a lot of good kind of deeper lyrics to it. Deathbed is a killer ballad. We get John Foreman. So, fun anecdote. I went to a concert with my sister, and it was a Relient K Switchfoot double feature.
Dope.
So Relient K played first, then Switchfoot. And at the end of the Relient K part of the concert, John Foreman came on and sang the last song they played of the night for Relient K
for 11 minutes
was
straight.
Deathbed, and then John Foreman came in and sang his part because he was there.
What a great transition.
So that was an amazing. That was Looking for America tour, I think, that they were doing that. So that was before the 10th anniversary tour. But that's still one of my favorite memories. Like, I was so glad that I went and did that. Stephanie and I had to stand for maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours before we even got in. Then it was standing room only at the House of Blues in Mandalay Bay.
Gosh, yeah.
So anyway, just really amazing memories of that. Always stands out to me. By the way, Switchfoot, quick note, like, I'm not a humongous Switchfoot fan. I like Switchfoot.
Oh my gosh.
I do. I like them. I listen to them a lot, but they are amazing in concert. Like, John Foreman is a great performer. Like, in concert, they were killer. And I was more of a fan after seeing them live
Yeah.
than I was before. So that's just a side note. Maybe we'll talk more about Switchfoot in future Music with Tea
for
episodes.
Sure. They also, never mind.
Keep going.
I was just going to collaborate with the Colony House too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge John Foreman fan,
Yeah.
even more than I'm a Switchfoot fan. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my
tier.
thoughts on this. Deathbed is an amazing song. I just love it. Pleading the Fifth, the way it opens is amazing with the acapella. Like, it's just great. Devastation, like, I love this. I love this album. So I'm putting it in A tier. It's not quite S tier for me. I don't listen to it as much as some of the S tier albums, but I love it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. A turn of events, straight up to S tier. Yeah, this album, I love this album so much. It's one of those that, like, this is Relient K to me. And all those songs that I remember growing up on, not knowing who they were, like, this is that album. Forgiven, probably one of my top 5 Relient K songs.
The musicality of that song is amazing. Like, the way he sings
Incredible. Such a strong message. Deathbed, Faking My Own Suicide is good.
Faking my own suicide.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
such a
good. I just love this album
The
so
best
much.
thing, the
Give
best
Until There's
thing that
Nothing
could be
Left.
happening.
Must Have Done Something Right. See, like, all of these. I'm Taking You With Me. Up and Up. Honestly, it's perfect album.
Yeah, it's an amazing album.
Like, you were talking about how is, like, the peak of them, basically, in their evolution. I think.
Well, I would say the pop punk sound. So I would say
Okay.
this album starts to depart, kind of starts that departure.
Yeah.
So the way I think of it is like if you're climbing this mountain of pop punk, you reach that's the top, and then you're kind of leaving pop punk behind. So
Yeah.
it's still so the sound changes.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I mean, I think it's one of their best albums, but I don't think it's the pinnacle of Relient K. So I can see where
So yeah, I would say, like,
I can see what you're saying.
5 Scores and 7 Years is my
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
It's a good album. It's a solid album. I'm not gonna fight you too much on that one. Yeah, it's a high A tier for me.
I think I had it on repeat for like 5 days straight.
It's a good album. So now we have Forget and Not Slow Down. Forget and Not Slow Down. An album that, or actually, so we do have Let It Snow. We're gonna skip over that
Oh
one.
no, Birds of the B-Sides.
Oh, when did Birds and the B-Side come out?
2008.
It's not a completely. All right, we'll talk about Birds and the B-Side.
Come on.
It's just not on my list. That's
We
all.
gotta talk about
But no,
Birds
we are. I was planning on talking about it. You can go first.
Oh gosh. See,
It's an interesting album
yeah,
because
yeah. Well, see, this is one of those things I was trying to rethink because, oof. Can you go first?
yeah, I can go first. For me, it's a B album. Birds and the B-Side B. There are some tunes on it I really love. Let's see if I can pull it up. I can't find it on Wikipedia.
Here. Oh, how many can we?
Oh, here it
rank
is.
in the S
This is a
tier?
compilation album. So it's a long album. It's got a lot of tracks on it. I think is it 13? No, hold on. It's a double EP. So I think it's got a lot of tracks. I would say there's a lot of songs I like. The Lining of Silver. Curl Up and Die is one of
There's
my
26
top.
songs.
Yeah, 26 songs. Curl Up and Die, one of my top tracks of Relient K. I think it's amazing. I like The Lining is Silver. At least we made it this far. There's a lot of good tracks on here, but there's also a lot of tracks that I just don't care for that much. And it is a really long album, so like there's a lot on here that I'm not listening to a lot. So even though there are some standouts, I do drop it down to B tier because unlike some of those A and S albums, for me, it's just not, it doesn't quite do it. There's good tracks on there, that's why I put it in B, but not enough to bump it to A.
Okay. So I'm gonna put the Birds and the B-Sides in A.
I thought you'd go there.
Yeah, I was struggling because I wanted to move it up to S tier. So I feel like if I could, I'd put it right in between.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm keeping it in A is because you're right, there's 26 songs, and the amount of songs that I absolutely love don't really justify putting it in S tier compared to the songs that I don't care about. But with that said, so many strong songs in here. Okay, Jefferson Aeroplane demo, I think it's better than the actual song. Hope for Every Fallen Man.
That's
amazing.
A good song. I agree with that.
And see, these are a lot of songs that were like demos of songs that made it to the albums and some that didn't make it at all. So Curl Up and Die, like you mentioned, incredible. At least we made it this far. There was another time in my life.
I was just going to say I like that one.
Oh my gosh, so good.
I just want you to
know.
know.
Yes, I love that one.
As I'm reading these, I'm just thinking back to these songs I listen to a lot. So there's a lot of good tracks here.
These songs in particular are on my constant repeat, no matter what I'm listening to. So that's why I want to like rank it S. But in terms of like the entire album, I'm gonna put it in A tier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Solid. Good showing from
But
Burning Beat side.
I can't hype up those particular songs enough though.
Okay. I like it. So now we get to Forget and Not Slow Down.
Yeah.
So now you have to go first because I went first twice.
Okay, I'm gonna put this one. Oh gosh, wait, where are we? This is hard.
This is a little tough for me, but
this is hard.
Oh, well, I'll talk about it when it's my turn. So let's look over here. Let me pull it up on the wiki.
This is so hard. Okay.
We got Forget and Not Slow
I'm
Down,
gonna put
released
it
in
in
2009.
I'm gonna put it in A.
He's gonna put that in A tier.
Yeah. I love this album. I think in terms of listening to whole albums, I listen to this quite a lot all the way through, which is rare for me to do. There's like good stuff.
Yeah.
It's enough to keep me listening, but I wouldn't say the entire album is stunning. Yeah. But it is. But you know.
It's a very solid album.
I like if you listen to it, I think like it's best to listen to it all the way through because each song just leads into the next really well. So it's a really good story soundtrack instead of this particular song.
Which is one of the things I love about Relient K, especially the albums that I really like. And some of the others we're going to get to, like Five Score, they are so good to just listen through. Like, I can listen through, and that's one of the reasons they're my favorite band. There's not many bands I can just listen through their albums and love every song, or maybe at least not love, like appreciate every song. Forget and Not Slow Down. Do you have anything more to say about it?
Well, I was just going to say, like, this is another section of Relient K that we see kind of breaking off into a new sound, which is definitely more into my arena of music that I like to listen to. So I think it's just another reason why I like it so much.
Yeah, this sounds a little bit more like, it's definitely more your vibe.
Which we come back to later with Relient K.
Right.
But we see they break off again soon after.
Right. So this album I actually has been going up in my estimation. I'm actually going to agree with you and put an A.
Yeah.
So I put it in a solid A.
Solid album.
I probably, if you had asked me maybe a couple years ago, I would have put it in B. I actually own this album. I actually got the CD, and I've since played it a lot while driving, and I really enjoy it. The song "Candlelight's" particularly special to me. Special. But I just enjoy the sound of Forget Not Slow Down. It's fun. Savannah.
They're all good.
Kind of the story as it ends is really good for me.
This is the end. So good. If you believe me.
Yeah, if you want it, this is the end. So, yeah, really, really good album. Not quite S tier because it doesn't quite like.
It's quite not mediocre, but it's.
I don't think it's musically as
it's
good.
It's very even.
It's very even, yeah. It's a good album, but it's not for me. It's not musically as
strongest as an album.
As excellent as some of the S tier albums.
Yeah.
Like for me, is just more musically.
More oomph.
Yeah.
Is oomph.
Yeah. But that is, again, because I do appreciate kind of the rock sound a little bit more than you do.
Amazon exclusive. Wait, they did a collab with Owl City? Yo, that's lit.
I've never heard that track. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, me too.
Another great artist.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a really fun album. Some of the songs are particularly special to me, so yeah, I love that album. So now we're getting into some really good stuff now because we move on from Forget Not Slow Down to the ever controversial, yes, one we've all been waiting for, Collapsible Lung. I forget whose turn it is to go.
It's My turn.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm interested because I think
Yes.
you rank this higher than me.
Well, again, this is one
with
of those
some
ones
caveats. But
I was thinking about, again, trying to... gosh. I don't know, man. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go... put it in B tier.
Okay.
So, originally I had this in A tier, but I'm gonna go with B.
So it's fallen down your status?
It's fallen down. Oh, gosh. I don't know. I feel bad because I've actually started listening to more songs from this album. But in terms of an entire album, I don't know if it's that solid. However, here's the honorable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Collapsible Lung. Solid song.
I agree.
Perfect.
One of my favorite all-time songs, one of my favorite all-time Relient K songs. Mm-hmm. Collapsible Lung is... I can't say enough good things about how much I love that song.
Yeah, it's
good. I want to do a video just on that song, which hopefully I will do if I ever have time.
Can't Complain. Another classic one that's always on repeat. So it's just... that song of itself is really high on my Relient K list. Boomerang is good. I know why people don't like this album that much. The sound is really interesting. I think Gloria, I like Gloria too. But they're just not, like, if Can't Complain and Collapsible Lung are really only the ones that I'm, like, always raving about. So that's why I'm going to put it in the B tier. But it's a good sound. And they're kind of going back to this pop. Not so much punk, but
it's
controversy.
pop without the punk in a lot of these albums.
Yeah,
a lot of songs,
it's
except
very
for Collapsible Lung.
Yeah.
Which Collapsible Lung... So, another one by Alice. So for me, I'm actually going to also put it in B tier.
Okay.
I'm putting the album in B tier, even though the song Collapsible Lung is S tier of S tiers.
Yeah.
So,
could you imagine ranking every song?
One of the reasons I don't like this album is I don't like a lot of the lyrical content. Even a song like Boomerang, like, I don't like the lyrical content, and I don't love the musical content either. It's like pop without the punk for a lot of these songs. Some of them are catchy. Don't Blink is one that I find catchy and I listen to. Can't Complain, I agree, is okay. Most of the others...
Okay?
It's fine. Most of those I don't listen to.
Can't Complain is amazing.
Okay. I can give you... Most of them I don't listen to.
It always lifts my mood.
But what I will say is this album is very interesting because it does tell a story. And really, it's a story where Matt Thiessen's in a particular place, and he writes this album kind of explaining that particular place he's in. And it kind of ends with Collapsible Lung as kind of that picture of being far away, kind of coming back to the Lord, coming back to a little bit of who he really is and should be as a man. So I think in that way, the album actually makes sense if you listen to it in that context. Shout out to Blimey Cow, actually made a really good video on unpacking this album and why it's actually not as bad as everyone says.
Really dating ourselves as homeschoolers here.
Well, sure. So you can search that on YouTube if you'd like. Check that out. I think it's a really great video they made. And I really agree with some of the points that Josh makes. So that's why I put it in B. If it wasn't for the track Collapsible Lung, it would probably fall to C for me. It's not an album that I would listen to, but I do have that song Collapsible Lung everywhere on my playlists.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite songs of all time. So with that, we go from the controversy, and the reason I say controversy is because a lot of people did not like this album.
It was very different.
I think you're one of the few people I've found that actually likes more of the songs. Most people will be like, okay, it was saying a message. I like Collapsible Lung, but yeah.
I'm not going to hate on it. It's not my favorite.
It's not, yeah. So unfortunately, I feel like a lot of the old school fans of Relient K, and I mean, you can look at the time period. It was 4 years, and then it was another 3 years before Air for Free comes out. A lot of the fans were not down with Collapsible Lung.
Yeah.
So they kind of
I mean, I think they were experimenting.
Right. And it's a different sound.
Which usually doesn't go over with the fans, but I appreciate it.
But that brings us to the crown jewel of Relient K.
Spoiler.
The song, the album Air for Free. This is an S album.
Can you put mine up there too?
Yeah, this is an S tier album. This is one that is just
impeccable.
Like, it's the last album that Relient K has released. I'm still
forever?
hoping that maybe forever.
Hope not.
I hope not.
Oh my
but
gosh.
It is the pinnacle. I always tell people this is my favorite album. And anyone who knows Relient K, it's sad because so many people are like, "Oh, really? I've never even listened to it." And I'm like, "How can you call yourself a Relient K fan if you haven't listened to Air for Free?"
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I think if you grew up with Relient K, it's a much different sound, but it's still, like, lyrically incredible. And I like this album because of the diversity in the type of music that they produce. I mean, Empty House, that's your favorite. It's so different from all the rest, and you're getting this nice.
Well, I don't know if I would say Empty House is my favorite track on the album.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites.
Okay.
I did a video on it on this exact channel. I would actually say Runnin' is my favorite.
Runnin's good, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you have so many different types of genres that are being enclosed in this album, but they all work so well together. They're fun. There's ones that make you think more. I like Prodigal and God because it's kind of tapping a little bit more into their faith, which is so cool to see.
Excellent. Prodigal is amazing. Heartache is amazing.
Yeah, top. And so this is S tier for me because there are just so many of my favorite songs on this album that it just ranks at the top.
Yeah, no, I would almost any song you could pick out from here is
I'll be like, yeah, that's
fantastic
good.
in different ways. Some of them are deep, some of them they're all beautiful musically.
Yeah.
Some are more pumpy fun, like you could say Local Construction or Cat are just kind of fun.
Yeah.
Or Bummin', but then something like God or Runnin' or Prodigal. Runnin' is so fun because it's like multiple songs in one.
Mrs. Hippopotamus is so good. Sorry, keep going.
No, it is, yeah. Oh wait, shh, I.O.
That's another one of the ones that I heard when I was first getting back into Relient K, and I love Ohio, so.
Yeah, that's amazing. Empty House is so different with the auto-tune.
Yeah.
Flower and Marigold, both of them are just really
Those are
sweet
really good.
and kind of romantic and just funny.
So you got a lot of different like storytelling going on in this album. That's just great.
Yeah. It's interesting. I never even thought of like if you look at the like the ordering of it with Empty House and then you've got Flower and Marigold right after it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you kind of end with this trifecta of Runnin', Prodigal, and Heartache.
Yeah.
Which is such a perfect way to end the album with kind of that more emotional punch, I guess.
Yeah.
Amazing album. I could go on and on and on about
Yeah.
this album. I could go on and on and on about almost any of the songs on this album.
Yeah.
Local Construction, like... It's a combination of a really fun song and just clever lyrics, and then it
Yeah.
kind of makes you think about like self-improvement
I love
and
clever lyrics.
the fact that like it literally is a song about sanctification if you think about it.
Yeah, there's just so many
Fix the house,
layers.
fix the car.
So many layers to this album.
But it's never done, right? Like
so good.
Yeah. So yeah, amazing album. S tier. It's my favorite album
Yeah.
of Relient K. So that we got some sundry others that we're not going to talk about because who cares about them. If you, again, Relient K is my favorite
They're like
band, but they
karaoke,
do create
holiday.
some. So yeah, like this. Technically, the Reindeer album is a full studio album. It's just a Christmas album. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's whatever. K for karaoke. Just not really.
We want to do like whole
my thing.
complete original albums.
So I just wanted to really quickly talk about some of the like what are our main differences here because we're actually pretty similar. I would say the biggest difference between us is definitely
Yeah.
That's the only one that's two rungs apart. I put that in S. You put that down in B.
Everything else is kind of just like one tier.
Yeah. Other than that, you like Five Score a little bit more than I do. You like Burden of Bees a little bit more than I do. But other than that, we're pretty much.
Yeah.
You like Anatomy a little bit. I like Anatomy a little bit more. You like Two Less. Although I feel like these two are both very, very similar albums. So, yeah, that is our tier list.
Reliant Clay.
Relient Clay. That was fun.
That was fun.
I enjoyed that.
I love Relient K. I'm so happy I like started listening to them again, mainly because of you, but
Yeah.
they're such a classic, and yeah, I love it. But I like Colony House
That's
more.
awesome. Yeah. Maybe we'll do a Colony House
We
video.
should.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I like
It's
that.
only 3 albums, but
Well, we could just like
the most recent
break it down
one.
a little bit.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be so
good.
much. It wouldn't be so
No,
much
the
a
latest
tier
album.
listing. It would be more like just a
We
discussion.
should break down the last album.
Yeah. Well, fun. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I don't really have anything more to say. Listen to Relient K. If you haven't listened, at least look at these top 4 albums.
Yeah.
Listen to those albums, man.
Or
'Cause
just
they're
the
really
songs
good.
that we mentioned.
Yeah.
But they're, depends on your music taste.
I would say you gotta listen to Air for Free.
Yeah.
I think almost anyone can appreciate Air for Free
Mm-hmm.
because it has different musical styles. Unless you're like just a really hardcore metalhead and that's all you care about, or like you're just a hip hop head or whatever.
Yeah.
But other than
Solid
it's a really
band.
good album.
Whatever they come out with next, I know it's going to be amazing.
I hope they come out with anything. I haven't really heard
Collapse
much.
with a Long Point too.
The last thing they did was they did a like an anthology album. They released a vinyl, which was like they did a fan vote, which by the way is interesting because the fan vote for like songs to put on there, a lot of songs I wouldn't have put on there. The fans like really, most of Relient K fans really do love their earlier albums
Yeah, it makes sense.
a lot more than I do. So if you look at our list, you can see that for us, their later albums are what we like the best.
Yeah.
Particularly Forget, Not Slow Down, Air for Free, and 5 Score, which are all 3 like latter half of the 2000s towards
Yeah.
2016, which was Air for Free. I mean, I love You Don't Love It As Much, but we all kind of.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is a lot of the fans really love their early stuff,
Mm-hmm.
specifically like Anatomy, Two Lefts, Relient K, like some of those early
Which
classic
makes sense
songs.
because if you're like a teen / young adult
Yeah.
during that time, that's your music.
Yeah,
taste.
that would make sense. And it is interesting because I basically started listening to Relient K only like maybe a couple years before Air for Free was released. So like I was listening to them. I loved that was my jam. And that was right around the time when Air for Free came out. So even that concert, I'm trying to remember. I think that concert was actually before Air for Free came out. I think I don't remember if they were playing Air for Free tracks then.
Well,
I'll have to
Yeah.
remember and think back, but I think that was a little bit before. So, but what I'm saying is all the other albums were out.
yeah.
So I was listening to mainly and 5 Score. That was like kind of my main,
Yeah.
and Forget and Not Slow Down. Those were my main 3 albums that I would listen to. And then the Collapse along the track, not so much the album. But so I think that kind of changed my perspective. Whereas I found the albums I liked, the sound I liked a little bit more. And Air for Free was like kind of the culmination of the sound that I loved.
Yeah. Well, I also find, I don't know, not to become like a psychologist, but I feel like if you discover a band and you're listening to all their previous stuff and they release something new while you're becoming a fan, then it kind of resonates with you a little bit more because you're a fan at the time that it's released.
Yeah.
So it holds a
That's
more
true.
of a special place. But
Yeah.
I mean, you can dispute that however you like, but
Maybe
Yeah.
there's part of it, like the first album I listened to was definitely
yeah.
So maybe there is a part of
Yeah.
it too, of
Yeah,
like
it's-
what you listen to first is what you really resonate with.
Yeah. But
So
that's all
I still think there's a logic behind it because
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you really like that earlier pop punk sound, I could see where you like that. I think the lyrical depth is greater in the later albums, which is kind of what I look at.
I think you can really tell too. They've been doing music for, well, when was Air for Free released?
2016.
That's 16 years.
And Relient K was 2000.
Yeah,
so that's 16
years of music. So they've really had time in the industry to really perfect their sound and come into who they are as musicians and what they want to produce. So I think that just Air for Free, although it has the fun songs, you can tell it's a more mature in terms of musician. They're more mature musicians, but
Even the fun songs
yeah.
have some interesting...
Yeah.
Because like for Cat is an example.
Yeah.
Where it's like super fun song, but you get into the lyrics and it's like talking about having 9 lives and
Yeah,
like...
so it's a callback to their early stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just that extra
Yeah.
spice.
I agree. And I'm sure a super hardcore Relient fan will come at me with how deep the early album lyrics are, but
I mean, they are. They've got a lot of good messages, but
Well, they've got some good messages that are really on the nose,
be
and then they've got
interested-
some songs that just don't have good
I'd be
deep
interested to
messages.
hear any remixes if they were to remix the early stuff.
Yeah.
But they did release an album with live performances, which I know you don't really care for, but I thought was really cool. Some of those songs I don't like, I liked better as live performances.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
all that to say,
All that to say, that was Music with Tea. We are almost out of our tea.
yeah,
Which means, I guess it's time to end the
more
video.
tea.
I mean, yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and we'll maybe make some more of these.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
I know.
I know
This
the
is
last
fun.
one's probably, been like a year since the last
I
time I
love
made,
talking
but
music. Not that I'll be back, but
who knows, maybe. Maybe we'll get tea over here as well. Get double tea. All right, bye guys.